Today's story time, in my opinion, is a pretty crazy one. I'm gonna start this off by saying, don't go to school and fight. I'm gonna get the moral of the story out of the way first. The moral of the story is, don't be like this girl that I'm about to talk about in this story time. Definitely not a good idea. But yeah, today's story time topic is high school and a fight that I witnessed that was not like any other fight. It was an insane one, and specifically it involved two girls, but not just two ordinary girls, a girl and a teacher. Yeah, let's just jump into this. This story time takes place in 9th grade. Yeah, 9th grade. It all starts off as a normal morning. I'm sitting in class, first period, just doing my work. And you know, like any other school day, I was tired as hell in the morning, just very low energy, wanting the day to go by faster. And on this day, we had a substitute teacher, okay? And she was a girl. But the thing about this substitute teacher is I could tell immediately that she took no shit. Like, a lot of the time when a class gets a substitute teacher, they kind of just like out in class and not take it seriously because they think that they can't get in trouble. This lady was a different type of substitute. Like, I could just tell she took no if anyone messed around with her, she would not hesitate to throw their attentions. So I just kept my mouth shut because I was kind of on thin ice at this point. It was my first year of high school and I got into a little bit too much trouble than I would have liked to that year. So yeah, I wasn't trying to get in any more trouble because if I did, I might get moved to another school. So yeah, I was just trying to be good that class and, you know, not get any trouble. And then this one girl walks in late to class. She was 20 minutes late. She walks in. Let's just call this girl Victoria, okay? Victoria had an attitude on her every single day, whether it was a substitute or a regular teacher. She was always mad mean to them. She was kind of mean to everybody. I remember. So anyway, she comes into class really late and the substitute goes, "Who are you?" She goes, "My name's Victoria." She goes, "Well, you're late, Victoria." And Victoria goes, "I don't care." And Victoria just sits down at her desk and pulls out a bagel from her backpack wrapped in foil and starts eating it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where the hell did she just get a bagel from? Like, she really just spawned a bagel. Anyway, the substitute teacher walks over to Victoria and goes, "What'd you just say to me?" And Victoria goes, "I don't care that I'm late. Now get the out of my face." And the substitute goes, "What'd you just say?" And she goes, "You heard me. I'm not repeating myself." And the substitute was not having it. She literally pulls a chair up right next to her, sits down, and looks her right in the eyes, probably like an inch away, face to face, and goes, "How about I give you detention? Then we can spend some more time together eating lunch." And Victoria goes, "Well, if you give me detention, I'm not going." And the teacher goes, "Yeah, you are." And they just start getting up in each other's faces and like yelling at each other. And then Victoria says, "Listen, you got 2 seconds to take 2 steps back. And if you don't, I'm swinging on you." And I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, is this really happening? Like, are they about to fight? This can't be happening. Like, no, like, this cannot happen. Like, it's 7 in the morning. It's way too early to be throwing hands at this hour. Like, way too early, especially for teachers. Like, let the poor lady have her coffee first before you start throwing hands. Come on. I'm just kidding. Not a good idea to throw hands with a teacher ever. Anyway, teacher doesn't back up. She gets closer to the point where they're literally touching faces. And Victoria just straight swings on her and hits her in the face. And in my head, I'm like, yo, this cannot be happening right now. And everybody jumps up out of their chairs and runs up to the front of the room to watch what's happening. And yeah, a full-blown fight breaks out between Victoria and our substitute teacher. And I'm just in shock. I'm like, this is not okay at all. And immediately, as soon as the fight breaks out, everyone starts making a bunch of noise and like screaming and yelling. And one of the security guards in the hallway heard this. And we had our door open so he could see in the classroom. So he runs in immediately and starts breaking up the fight. But the problem was, it was one security guard and 2 girls fighting. So it took him a lot of force to break them up. It took him probably a good 30 seconds to get them separated. So that entire time, they were basically fighting like with him in between them. It was just the most like insane situation. So anyway, the security guard breaks them up, but it doesn't end there. The whole time they're broken up, they're cussing and screaming at each other from across the room. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yo, how is this happening right now at 7 o'clock in the morning? Like, how are these people not tired? Like, if someone tried to walk up on me at 7 in the morning and try to start a fight, I'd be like, hey man, like, can we get a rain check on this? Can we do this later today? Like, I'm really tired. But nah, for real, it was way too early to be fighting. So anyway, they get broken up, they're screaming at each other, they're cussing at each other, and one of the principals walks in, the vice principal, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, there was a fight. And she goes, "With who?" Like, it wasn't obvious. Both my substitute teacher and Victoria had the most messed up hair ever. But I point to both of them, and I'm like, yeah, it was Victoria and the substitute. And my vice principal goes, "The substitute fought?" I was like, "Yep, she did." And she goes, "Really?" I was like, "Yep, I'm just as shocked as you are." And she goes, "Okay, well, get back to work." I sit back down, I go back to doing my work, just, you know, minding my own business, you know, being unproblematic. And the vice principal brings the substitute teacher and Victoria up to her office so they can go talk about what just happened. And she leaves us with the security guard in the room just to monitor the class for the rest of class. And yeah, since he wasn't a teacher, he's like, yeah, just stay quiet, go on your phones or something, listen to music. Like, you only have a little bit of class left, so, you know, just relax for the rest of it. And yeah, so everything after that was a pretty normal day. But I find out the next day that Victoria got 2 weeks of suspension and the substitute could never work at our school again. I don't know if she wasn't allowed to work at other schools as well.